Shang Chi is really, really good. It's not top 5 MCU great, but it didn't need to be. I saw the movie on Sunday and I wanted to take a day or two to gather my thoughts, post the instant reaction, and trust me when I say this review will be spoiler free. There's a lot to love and a lot to see a second time, so let's talk about Shang-Chi's epic MCU entrance. If you're going to see Shang-Chi for the tight choreography and larger-than-life martial arts, then you're going to love this movie. Shang-Chi delivers on the most crucial component of the character in its cinematic debut outside of the actors themselves and pulls no punches along the ride. Within the first 20 minutes of the film, the audience is witness to arguably the best opening brawl in any Marvel movie, rivaling that of Steve vs. Bucky in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. From the wonderfully charismatic and lovable charm of Mcu as Shang-Chi and the surprisingly welcomed addition of Awkwafina's Katie, all hell breaks loose on public transportation and we get our first taste of this new Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mcu's acting chops, shut up, it's just a pun, are on full display as he expertly dances between lovable Shang and masterful martial artist. The fights are full of volume and visceral, head-pounding momentum with robust visuals and obvious choreographic influences from Jet Li, Jackie Chan, and subtle hints of Bruce Lee. The fights in the movie grow exponentially more fantastic as the runtime continues, with the added layers of emotional weight alongside the plot's expositional transitions, cultivating in a sense of finality through even the simplest of flying kicks. The camera work throughout Shang-Chi gives room for long draws of artistic appreciation and marveling at the athleticism that the superhero demands, even when grounded in the streets of San Francisco. This is thanks to cinematographer Bill Pope, the same cinematographer from The Matrix and Spider-Man 2, both influences that shine brightly in this movie. The camera work allows for canvas-length takes and wide panning shots that only enhance the viewing experience, and this is absolutely a movie that needs to be seen twice. The focus on the Z-axis is also an incredible adjustment to the Marvel formula that is seldomly explored, but should become a necessity for all action scenes moving forward. From the colors to the environments to the costume design and art direction, Shang-Chi delivers on the visual just as much as the physical. Like how Black Panther transported us into an authentic and respected world we hadn't explored, Shang-Chi does the same, and that's all I'll say because I promised I wouldn't spoil anything. If you're a fan of anime and want to see it live action, you will love this movie. Hell, if you're a fan of martial arts or kung fu movies, you will also love this movie. I grew up on Bruce Lee films, and Shang-Chi does a wonderful job at paying homage to the different fighters of cultures past, whilst introducing a new bar for the Marvel fighting formula. I'm also a massive fan of the game Ghost of Tsushima, and the world building and attention to detail and environmental detail you find in that game, you will find in Shang-Chi. Tony Leung is absolutely captivating, and Wenwu is the standout of the movie, oftentimes even outshining the other stars on screen. This just means I want to see more of Simu immediately. Wenwu as a father figure is the most interesting and realistic portrayal of a father in cinema I've seen in quite a while, and his own journey and perspective in this movie is a highlight for fans like myself. The relationship he has with Shang-Chi and how everything comes into focus is only describable after you watch the movie, so go watch it already. He is easily a top 3 MCU villain, and I appreciated the depth his character brought to the movie. All characters portrayed in this film were given the care and attention they deserved for such a big cinematic moment, and for that, this movie deserves a lot of praise. But with all of this, there were some spots I felt the punches didn't land, and with that, I have to digress. Simu is fantastic as Shang, but I do wish he had a little bit more to do. The situations he was in often resulted in him becoming a conduit between the dialogue and the exposition, which oddly sometimes felt like he wasn't the main character of the scene and was only around to help move the plot forward. This doesn't mean he was bad, not at all. I just want more of him so I can continue to learn about his character. He starts the movie with one frame of mind, accepts some things about himself, and ends the movie with this same frame of mind. And it felt a little undercooked as a character arc. I do appreciate, though, the stage in which we meet Shang, as it's very different to every other Marvel hero, and I definitely need to see this movie again. It moves very quick on you, and I'm sure there are things that I missed the first time. The opening third of Shang-Chi is grounded brilliance, with world building done naturally, but the middle third of this movie tended to come to a screeching halt and drag on for quite a bit. So much so that it actively pulled me out of the movie experience, and I kept mentally resetting myself after another 15-minute stretch of straight exposition. I'm told it gets better on a second viewing, and that is good to hear. There were moments where I would have liked less dialogue and more visual representation, as well as moments where the story became less about Shang and more about another character and their objectives, but that is a personal gripe. The third act of this movie takes a completely unsuspecting turn, and while the grandiose nature and fantasy aura of it all is truly epic and fun as hell to watch, the concepts were introduced far too late into the story, where it felt like the beginning half of the movie was pulled from another timeline altogether. In the end, I enjoyed every moment of this film, and I'll watch it on repeat as soon as possible, but I did leave wishing the bombastic nature of this story's climax was instead approached through the lens of grounded and personal character beats to help maintain the raw and unfiltered feeling of the opening act. The final fight scenes are a spectacle unlike anything in the MCU, so even with my hesitations, I still enjoyed everything on screen. All parts were good, all parts were entertaining, but it took a couple zigzagging cuts to get from A to B. If you're going to Shang-Chi to see some sweet martial arts, you will get your fix throughout this movie. But I also would have loved to see more of the martial arts with how things eventually went. Also, the rings are like dope, but I don't want to spoil that because you need to see it for yourself. They kick all kinds of ass and you'll like it. Just know that they are very different to anything you were reading about or hoping for, and it's unlike any Marvel movie you've seen before. All in all, even with my criticisms, I really enjoyed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It may be a movie where the pieces are more impressive than the whole, but the canvas it chooses to enact its vision on is worth investing in again. I don't like movie ratings, but I do like YouTube, so I will give this one an 8.5 out of 10. It was a very good movie. You should go support it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.